Alright, so welcome back to End of the Double Dragon podcast. It's your boy Shane Greenwood in Double Dragon Gym, Sutherland Shire. And with me in a socially accessible distance, if you're watching on video, is Hugh O'Donnell.
Hello.
And via the internet, we have Trent Lawrence.
Hello.
Hey, how are we, guys?
Good.
Yeah. Get in there. So, fill my time up by ripping the gym apart.
Yeah, the gym is in fucking shambles.
Well, if you can see the video, you can probably see a bit of it. But, if you've never seen the gym before, then you probably go, man, that place is actually a shithole.
This is what it looks like all the time. It's an absolute dump.
Yeah. Just got to, got a good plan going into it. Getting rid of that bit of the cage section there. Don't use the cage. But also it kind of frees up more room for people, to train. Because when it gets summer, it gets pretty packed for space.
This place is getting full.
And going to paint all the brickwork white. Look really nice, actually. Big job. Man, I just spent fucking 2 hours just scraping off two letters in the window. Vinyl stickers. And then Rowan comes along with the razor blade and then does one letter in 30 seconds. So, So, I had a very productive day.
Yeah, these letters are fucked. Excuse my friend.
That's it. About you, Trent, how's things, working remotely and from home?
Awesome.
It's well, it is what it
Another
is.
day.
Another day, another $1 do.
The home office life is sweet. You can wake up at 8 a.m., roll out of bed, just start working from there.
I never want to go back to the office again. I love getting up at 8:30 and starting work.
It's a lot of things will change from when I guess things go to somewhat back to normalcy. From there, even a few clients that I train, they were saying their workplace will be more willing for people to work from home more often, or at least a 50-50 because the model seems to work.
I feel like a lot of the time what happens is I know people who have jobs that sometimes ask to get a little bit more flexible and work remotely, and their bosses say no. But now you kind of have to show your hand. If in 6 months' time someone says, "Can I work from home?" and they get told no, it's well, I fucking did it for half a year.
That's always been the default position of the directors at my workplace. You have to give a 10-point plan in an email the day before if you want to work from home for a day, for 1 day. So, but now it's killed all those excuses.
10-point plan. You just go. It's snacks. So, working in pajamas. These are all valid reasons.
Making me.
It's the equivalent. It's the equivalent of an electronic ankle bracelet to make sure you're strapped to your laptop working.
Oh, government. All right, let's get into the topic today from there because I'm mentally fried, to be honest. So long days of work, but we had another question that came through the Instagram. This time we'll get the dude's name right. Should get his name right. He's the leader of all the questions that comes into the page.
That's our boy.
Yeah, our boy Jake Davis from there trains at All Sorts Wyong by Matt Cashmore. So a question that he sent in, I'll kind of I will spin it a little bit, but he was just saying, our thoughts on people with only a couple fights, 1, 2, 3 fights, training other people to fight. I think what he was trying to get across was not just fitness and that, but training other dudes to go, hey, I want to have a fight too. Goes, oh, I had a couple, so how about I just train you? Well, I think it is a valid thing to kind of address, but also where we can spin it is to really just coaching. What experience do you need to actually be a coach? But also, what kind of coach do you want to be also? So the other week we talked about our martial arts journey from where we came from to coaching from there. So the coaching model that I was kind of brought under was really if you want to coach, you have to have a fight beforehand, and you didn't have to have many. You can just have one. Doesn't matter if you want to win or lose. So it's more so the thinking was if you want to transform the fight, you got to know what it's like yourself. But it also as well what I think about that nowadays is if you want to train competitive fighters, I reckon you shouldn't fight. If you're physically capable fighting, because there are some people that well documented that haven't fought before and still are great coaches. from there. Like one that really came to mind. That's one of the biggest names I remember coming up was like in boxing was Joe Calzaghe. His dad trained him. They were fought. He was a musician. And trained him one of the best. Another one comes to mind is in Queensland. There was a Scott Moss.
Scott Moss.
Yeah, from he owns
Modern
Modern
Warrior.
Warrior Gym. And that one, he's a very vocal. Said they had a fight because he's had an injury. That like for 2 legs, it kind of hampered him from doing it. But hey, trained Unukas.
Yeah.
It's like
No, he's a legit trainer.
yeah,
Yeah.
great trainer as well. It's not like a required thing, but I think it's just good to kind of expand onto really it's different if you want to train competitive fighters compared to if you're just doing it just to teach the art or fitness wise as well. I think there should be different things addressed to like what kind of experience you need.
Yeah.
But for my own personal one, just like when Nick was back in the day, if you want to be a coach, you had to have fought, and that was a pretty standard rule for a long time from you. It still holds a little bit from there, but I think I've kind of changed my visions a little bit depending on, it's more so in our system you got to be able to train kids first. That's like usually the starting point because really when you train kids, they're the hardest demographic to train.
Yeah.
Because not all of them want to train, not all of them there. A lot of them have learning difficulty problems, so you have to learn a wide variety of skills to teach people.
I honestly think teaching kids, like teaching a broad array of kids, especially like a lot of kids, like you said, that come to martial arts, like they oftentimes are kids that have trouble kind of getting into like the mainstream sports. Like it's a little bit harder to put them into a soccer team or something like that. Like for that reason, like teaching kids will make you a better person. Like that, it'll make you a better communicator, but it'll also make you more patient and more like I think that's a really I think if you are really getting into any martial art, you should think about, even if you don't want to teach it, like you don't want to make that, spend some time teaching kids, because it actually is like I've been away from the gym too long, so I only ever complain about it usually, but like it actually is really rewarding to teach kids. Like the best thing you can get is if you have a kid that starts with you, not thinking of anyone in particular, that starts with you when they're young, like 12, and then you can get them up into like a fighter level, and then they can train with you. Like to me, that's sick.
Yeah, it's pretty kind of like puts in perspective of really like just taking something for that's like especially like you said martial arts. Most people that come to martial arts just in general team sports or they're outsiders or for a lot of kids. We train a lot of autistic kids. Also, that just couldn't fit in through learning difficulties, and it's just really good. A couple of guys that even Hughes, one of the ones who trained from kids up to now, Kai, but also kids that like I said more learning disability kids that will probably never fight, but seem like going from basically almost being a mute, don't talk, show no signs of just like oh man, don't want to be here or just doesn't want to communicate whatever. To now, some of them are just the most chatterbox kids ever, and they're really outgoing and they really kind of taken to learning the craft of martial arts.
To me, that's one of the coolest things is to see, like you said, because we've had a couple that I've been teaching that when they first come to the class, really hard to get a word out of and don't really, not that they don't want to be here, but they don't really want to be involved in kind of like a social sense. And then to watch them kind of like just through, I think the interest in the art and starting to kind of brings them out of their shell a little bit. And for me, it's the same thing. The reason I think if you're really getting into your art, you should try teaching kids is because there's no other area of my life where I could use as a vehicle to kind of bring a kid out of their shell. But here, you can leverage martial arts skill into I guess what I'm saying in simpler terms is you can do some good with it. It's just punching and kicking and shit. But if you frame it that way, it's you can actually have a really profoundly positive impact on a young kid. I think that's I guess it's getting a little bit off tangent, but to me that's one of the. I think anything that you're doing, if there's some for me it's martial arts, it's something in my life that you should look for a way that you can really spin it to have a positive impact, not just like if you train, like if you've seen the benefits in your own life, I guess it's the perspective for me. It's coming from training as a kid. For me, everything that training martial arts has done for me from a kid into, I suppose I'm an adult now. It's like it would be selfish for me not to do my best to make sure as many kids as possible get the same thing. Because I don't know what the fuck I'd be doing if I wasn't doing Thai boxing.
I know, exactly. But it's like, especially in these times, you kind of just notice in particular how important something like the gym is. Yeah. Like, but like, you see, like, I think WA's like, they're kind of coming back into training groups again, outdoors. Like, New South Wales don't know when that's going to happen, but I'm not too optimistic of it happening very soon. But like, it seems part of the countries are like starting to relax on a little bit from there. But like you said, like, you just see everyone like from there just like really misses the gym, the training and that. But really, the gym is a community.
Yeah,
that's what it is. And then like you get a lot of people here that like training that, but what they probably even like more is like they just like coming up here and just seeing everyone and just having a laugh and just basically trying to simulate murder on each other and then just go, yeah, that was cool, high five. But going into like the coaching from there, so yeah, that's how it was back in like the day, and it's and I don't know, like, was it in striking sports in particular, like boxing, Muay Thai? It's like, is it mainly like a hard edge kind of thing where like if you want to be a coach, you should have fought? Is that like the general consensus that you feel?
I think personally from where I'm at, I would find it a bit hard to take myself serious. But I mean, like, I guess it's coaching styles as well. Like, when I train people, I'm a bit of a hard ass, but like, I'm never telling someone to do something. Like, if I'm telling someone to go do 300 knees on the bag, I know I'm going to do that too. Like, I would find it a little bit difficult to take myself seriously training people the way I train them if I didn't know that I'm telling them to do things that I've also done. Like, I don't think skill-wise it's impossible to be a coach without having fun. Of course, I don't think that. Like, I think the evidence is there. But I think for me, where I would be, just personally, like, I would find it hard to tell people to do things if I didn't do them myself. But I guess, like, it comes down to as well as, like, when I'm training people, I don't really train like fighters, but I have been like an integral part of like if some of the younger kids are fighting and stuff. A lot of my training processes just come from things that I've done myself. So I suppose if I didn't have the experience, I could put it together based on like theory. It's hard when you're always teaching from experience to think where the info comes from. Otherwise, I guess, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, definitely. What about jiu-jitsu training? What's the coaching kind of philosophies on that side of things?
I'd say most people in jiu-jitsu are expected to compete, and that would be at all belt levels. It's pretty rare for someone not to have competed by the time they're a blue belt. Again, personally, I think it's valuable to go and compete, especially if you want to coach people in the future, whether they want to be competitors or not. I still think having competitive experience is valuable, or having some sort of practical experience. Personally speaking, if I hadn't competed, I probably wouldn't have the level of knowledge I have today. I wouldn't be able to give meaningful advice to people who want to compete or are thinking about it. So from that perspective, I think it's valuable if you want to coach. But having said that, if you want to get good at jiu-jitsu, not competing, it's not going to hurt you as much as you think. If you don't have the time or money, if you suffer from social anxiety and you just don't want to do it, that's not a problem. I would never force anyone to compete, that's for sure. If they just want to learn jiu-jitsu a few times a week as a hobby, that's fine. I'm happy to help people do that. If someone wants to become a world champion, I'd do my best to help them with that too. So I think that's one of the things coaches need to be good at. They need to be good at assessing people's individual goals and what they want to achieve and what they want to get out of it. Taking a one-size-fits-all approach, it's not going to work. I would say most people don't want to compete in combat sports. That's my view. So if you're not if you're not catering for people with different objectives, then you're going to be pushing a lot of people away who could find a lot of value in sports like jiu-jitsu and Muay Thai and boxing. So, I think competing is really valuable, and it's good to have a coach with that experience and knowledge. But then you've got outliers like John Danaher, who hasn't competed in tournaments and that sort of thing. But he was like a bouncer for like 11 years in New York in the nightclubs there. That's got to count for something, especially from a self-defense perspective. And I'm sure there's plenty of other coaches who haven't had that world-class competition level experience, but are just excellent coaches because they know how to impart knowledge, and they just study the art so closely and so carefully, and with so much detail that they're excellent coaches. You can train with guys who are world champions, but they're not great coaches. They're not. They know the technical details and the technical aspects behind jiu-jitsu or whatever martial art you're doing. But having the patience and knowing how to cater to people with different learning styles, like you're talking about, people with autism, how do you cater for them? Well, that's going to be specialised knowledge. You've got to go out and learn how to communicate with someone with autism. So again, that's another dimension to coaching there. So that's my view is you've got to learn the different styles of coaching and the different ways of communicating to cater for people's different learning needs. Whether or not they have a handicap of some sort, that's not even entirely relevant either, because different people have different learning styles just as individuals. You can be a visual learner or kinesthetic learner, or you can just learn by doing or watching or seeing. Some people learn best by reading. So, as a coach, it's good to know what those different learning styles are.
Yeah, and it's like it also goes into like things we talked about before, like like the world's best fighter might not be the world's best coach.
Yeah, a lot of fighters can't teach shit.
Yeah, it's like you can kind of tell sometimes with just like on the how they go on a cerebral level and stuff. People are just they. When you tell someone what the details and how to do this and tweak it up a bit, and then you get just other people from there they just want to be told to do a lot of times where it's I don't know, just tell me the thing, which one with what drill do I do? All right, do this drill, and just go from there. But and you can kind of tell most of the people that aren't that they like doing it, but they don't go on a deeper level of stuff either.
Yeah.
And that goes into also do you need competitive experience? No, but you better be obsessed with it.
Yeah.
If you're going to be a coach, you can't be just same thing. You can't be the couple times a week person. I don't feel that you can do that and be a coach also, because your level of experience and knowing moves and studying moves probably is not equipped to teaching people. There, and most of the time you find anyway, coaches in general, have very level experiences of competition, if at all. But you probably find the most common factor for them is their absolute, almost obsessive compulsive desire of learning the sport that they're teaching from there.
And also,
I think patience is a really big thing too. If you don't have patience as a coach, you're not going to be effective. You're just not. People aren't going to approach you with questions. It's one thing to say, come to me with questions and ask me things. But if you're not approachable, why would anyone do that?
Yeah.
You mean the drill sergeant style's not, effective?
I know. There's a time and a place for that. If you're doing a competition class, I've got no problem with people raising their voices and doing a bit of the drill sergeant. But if you're just doing a standard class for learning in an adult environment, there's probably no place for that, really.
No, I stand my authority.
Nah.
Especially with the 5-year-olds. You got to make sure that they're on the tap. Get in there.
But even with kids, some kids respond to that and others don't.
Yeah.
So some kids want the discipline and other kids are just don't yell at me. I was one of those kids.
Well, it's going back to Jake's question a little bit from there, where he's just going a fight. Like I was actually talking about last go, yeah, it's like he found it like I don't know, maybe in his area it's a problem. Like I don't pay too much attention outside of that from that one, but but he brought it up and just saying like it feels like it's a little bit like what's the best way of saying it? I don't know, immoral to the person that's doing the training, because the guy that's fighting today had 1-2 fights.
Yeah.
And probably most likely what you say a younger fella.
Yeah.
As well. Not like we're not talking like a grandmaster. That's going to be years and years from there. And it's like, and I just feel as well if these people not doing it within the gym they're training, have just blessing you're probably undercutting the gym as well.
Yeah.
From that. And it's like, but I was kind of thinking you're training for a fight, but I don't know what you just got to do it under your own names,
Well, this is kind of the other issue. Like, you talk about how do you feel about someone with 1 or 2 fights, training fighters? That can be a really different situation. Like someone who maybe got into it a little bit older, had 1 or 2 fights just to kind of get their feet wet and get a taste for it, but with the grand plan being stepping away and coaching after spending a lot of time learning, could be an excellent coach. Someone who gets into it at the more common age, the late teens, early 20s, has just had 1 or 2 fights, is planning on having a lot more, and decides that they're just going to make their money training other people to fight on the side. That's probably fucking stupid. Especially if it's different as well. Like, you might have had a lot of the time in gyms, depending on most gyms don't have a massive spread of fighters. Like, they have a handful of fighters and the majority that just train for fun. So a lot of the time someone with 1 or 2 fights is one of the more experienced people in the gym and can be kind of become an integral part of helping out with the gym. But but that should be like learning to train people, I think, is like learning to fight. Like, you've got to be brought along through it, through different stages. If you're doing that under kind of guidance of the person who taught you and treating learning to become a coach as something that happens alongside learning to become a fighter, but different, they're separate, then you could come on well like that, and you could get introduced to teaching when you've only had 1 or 2. If you're fucking off from the gym and you chucked a couple mats down in your backyard and you're going to actually bring along fighters on your own somehow, that's probably, look, maybe it's a legit setup, I'm sure someone's making it work somewhere, but it sounds fucking stupid to me. This is what also, you got to say to, the people who want to fight, you're getting trained by someone like that. It's get a gym, get a legit gym, if you can, if it's available, especially, if you're in an area where someone's fucked up in their gym, or left their gym, to start teaching people. Go to the actual gym where the resources are. You're kind of undercutting yourself by doing it. Someone else can't. But I get it as well. One of the problems, if you're someone who has had a lot of fights or has a lot of experience and actually can offer something as a trainer or as a pad holder or however you want to offer the service, it's you are always going to be entering a saturated market. And it's a market that is saturated with people who a lot of the time really don't have any business teaching. It's a bit of a problem in fighting is every time people decide that they're going to take fighting seriously, they decide that they're going to just make their living off of training people on the side. It happens a lot, and fair play to you if you can do it. But a lot of the time people make that jump way too early, that they go, and it's also, the other problem is people aren't training people because they really care and are passionate about training people. They're just deciding that that's going to be their side hustle so they can spend all day in the gym or spend all day training. So it's probably the central thought out of all the crap that I just said is learning. I really think and this kind of helped me, you have to separate learning to teach from learning to fight, not think of it as the way it works for most people, I think, is they're just learning to fight and they can kind of just teach that as they go. But you really have to think of it as it intersects a lot. One comes from the other, but learning to teach is a different thing. And that's probably why you can teach if you haven't had a lot of experience, because it should be a whole nother thing. It's just that over the time that you're learning to teach, the information that you're getting from your fighting is just speeding you along there. But you could be on just that other path without like extensive fight experience. It's just that like you also have to think like if you're just your only resource is your own fighting, you're not treating teaching and coaching or training, whatever you want to call it, as a different thing. You're only teaching what you do, which is probably relatively primitive. Like I wouldn't want to be. I'm like when I teach a class, I'm not just teaching like a set of things that like I am stylistically proficient at, like because that's limited. Like you should be working on trying to teach a comprehensive, because like that's how you help people find their styles. You teach a comprehensive. Like sometimes we're working on, you know, like a real forward pressing Muay Thai knee style, and sometimes we're working on moving away counter-fighting techniques, and different people in that room are going to gravitate to the different techniques, and that's what they move along with in sparring. But like if you just come out and teach the things that you consider to be your, like everyone has a technical set. Like, you know, they have their techniques, like elite fighters as well. Like if you watch someone like Giorgio Petrosian, like he has a very fine set of things that he does. He just really has different kind of methods of implementation, I suppose, like how he makes it fit to himself. If he was to teach, I guarantee he could teach an absolute array of stuff. And probably works on different styles and stuff as well, but he just knows what he's doing. But if you went to train with Giorgio Petrosian, you went, wow, I'm going to train with the doctor, one of the best ever, and I guarantee he would probably teach you his signatures, but he wouldn't just teach you like, you know, left hand, left knee up the middle. Like it wouldn't be like that, like, because you have to have like that really sort of more comprehensive understanding to teach, I guess. So that's where it's like, even probably sometimes people who are less experienced aren't kind of fixed by their own style. Like you're a little bit more fluid in the way that you teach, because I think sometimes for people there's almost and I get it in a lot of sense as well, is because you only want to teach things like that you have used in the ring. I guess a lot of the time want to be like, I will teach this because I know I've done it in the ring. But like really, time goes on, and like if you had a fight career, especially maybe a not so long one, like no Western's fight career is that long generally, and you're just teaching his ear, like shit gets stale. Like you have to be also learning from like basically what I'm saying is like you are limiting yourself a lot if your only resource to teach from is your own career. Like that's fairly like you know, like it's quite egotistical as well, like because you should be teaching from everything that's happening. You can't be expected to embody every single style over the course of the career, because you'll probably be a pretty trash fighter as well. Like just when people have our style. But like yeah, so I guess like the central point there is that like teaching and fighting come along on their own. It's just that like they draw from each other.
Yeah. And when you look at jiu-jitsu trend from there, like when did people actually like start teaching that? Like usually, like, you know, is it just black belt, boom, or like, you know, is there like a process usually?
Usually you need the experience, so probably after like maybe 3 years roughly, depending on how much learning you've put in, how much effort you've put in and time. I'd say like blue belts would start helping out with kids' classes. Maybe purple belt and above could start coaching classes. But again, it depends on their coaching ability. It's not just their technical ability. I mean, that's what I would be looking at if I was going to get someone to start coaching. You need a certain amount of maturity to coach. You definitely need patience. I mean, it's no good getting short with someone because they're not doing it the first time, or they're not doing it the way you do it, and that sort of thing. So, I think it's a learning process in jiu-jitsu. As you go up through the belts, you should be learning how to coach, or at least observing coaches and what you think they're doing right. But you can also watch other coaches to see what they're doing wrong as well. So there might be something going on with the culture of the gym, and that might come out from the coaches as well. So there's different factors, and also with coaching, there are transferable skills you can develop to be a coach. Like I got a certificate in training and assessment through my other job, my government job, and I can't go into too much detail about what I was teaching people, but it was really what?
Trent's a sleeper. See, a second word comes on and just goes, yep, it goes, he starts marching off, you go, to the president.
No, it was to do with like contentious material for border force officers and law enforcement officers. So it's stuff that they can and can't seize. But I had to train them in how to assess that material. So those skills have been useful because I guess you've got to learn how to talk to people in confronting environments. You know, so you can't get more confronting than. I won't get into the material of my other job, but with jiu-jitsu, it is confronting when you're in north-south position with someone, and you've got to put that in context. Otherwise, people are just going to go, "What the hell is this?" You can end up in all kinds of weird, compromised positions when you're grappling and in jiu-jitsu. And that's the other thing. If you don't put things into context as a coach, the students aren't going to get value out of it. They're just going to go, "Oh, well, I think I'm doing the move the way I was shown how to do it, but I don't really know why I'm doing it like this." But as soon as you put something like that into context, it should click for them. And then it will become like a second nature, hopefully. If it doesn't, you just got to spend more time with that student.
Yeah, definitely. And so when we were just talking about before, like not so much the comparative experience, but we have at that home a fair bit, but also it's just more so it should be the training age should be taken into account. So if you got, let's say, like younger trainers, like let's just hypothetically, we're talking about early 20s, things like that, that maybe got a training age of 2 years.
Yeah.
From that one. So like basically, you know, how they probably view training or training other people is, you know, everything has to be fucking hard. You got to train twice a day, 6 days a week. You got to spar hard. It's like everything has to be full tilt from there, which is, it's fine when you're younger with such a small training age as well, because your body's just not that trapped.
Yeah.
But like, you know, you probably find like, you know, Hugh's actually been training for a while now, and he's not that old, but he does feel like he's 40 there. And like, you know, and same thing for me, like, you know, 35, 36, I'm starting to feel the ravages of old age, starting to get there.
You two just shut up right now.
I was kind of just gently, just kind of leading the trend.
The ravages of time.
But also just knowing that, like, you know, the body can only handle so much, and just kind of like, and that comes with training age, just to know that, like, you know, yeah, sure, you can attack things like hard and get a good result early. It's the same as, like, you know, when I do strength coaching as well. If you've never touched a weight before, the first 6 months is like magic. Like, you know, you can gain lots of strength and size from there without doing fuck all. You could be doing the wrong thing and do it right.
Yeah.
But then you'll hit a thing where basically everything just starts going at a snail pace, and you have to, like, really, like, you know, look at recovery and periodizing training and more finer points, which is the same as this. You'll find very quickly that combat sports, no matter how you do it, even if you aren't doing it competitively, if you're doing it for, like, you know, a couple, like, you know, 3+ times a week, your body will get wrecked.
Yeah.
It's just like how you train, how you approach the intensity of your training, and also, like, you know, sometimes you got to just recognize as a coach, you just go, well, probably that 50 kilo girl shouldn't go with that 100 kilo guy.
Yeah.
Even if they are, like, you know, doing pads, or like they're just drilling moves from there. You just know at the end of the day, you just go, that's just not going to work out. And probably these two will kind of leave there and go, that was shit, I'm not coming back from there.
Yeah.
And
there's ways to work around it. I mean, you wouldn't teach takedowns if you have a class of beginners and 2 people show up. One's 100 kilos and one's 50 kilos. You're not going to teach them how to do double leg takedowns on their first day, but you might teach them like a scissor sweep from close guard. That might be safe. So you just got to sort of adapt to the circumstances.
Yeah.
I think it's also a somewhat overlooked responsibility of coaching. Like, I wouldn't say I ever did anything to like do wrong in this way, but it's definitely not something that was at the front of my mind when I started teaching. Is like, you have a responsibility. Like, people come to train for fun. Like, I think everyone wants to be a fighter trainer because it is some of the most like maybe only if you are. For me as a fighter, teaching fighters is one of the funnest kinds of teaching because it's got that. Because it's got that like it's got that realism to it, I guess, and it's that bit more intense and a little bit more straight from what I'm used to as well. But the majority of people who are training for fun, you have to learn the difference between training someone to compete and training to just to train for fun. But also, like, one of the shittiest things you can do is cause legit damage to someone who came to train for fun, like that. And like, you could watch it. Like, if I am teaching a class, in a lot of cases, like if someone gets hurt, I have to look at that and say, that's my fault. Not that was a freak. Even if they did just like, you know, trip and fall, whatever. Like a lot of, like sometimes it is just an absolute freak accident, but most of the time, there were steps that weren't really looked at. Like they were moving in a really like just a really poor way that was going to lead to a fall or something like that. Like, it's easy to look at situations and like go like, oh, that was just a freak accident. When probably even as much as like your coach should be paying attention, that it's like if people like if someone comes up to train for fun and they get an injury that and this is the other part of it, like injuries that happen in the gym can have a massive impact on people's just day-to-day life, depending on what they do for work and stuff like that. If someone comes up to train for fun and also to better themselves, like to get fitter and to like gain some skill, and you hurt them in a way that A, they can't keep training anymore, B, their actual life is altered, but also just that they didn't have a positive experience. And like that's one of the things I've always taken seriously, well, especially as I got older, teaching classes, is that the experience should be positive. Like if someone looks, not everyone's going to like the training. It's not for everyone. You won't see everyone again. That's fine. But if someone has like, who could have got a lot out of it, or even just generally, even if someone doesn't like it, they should have a mostly positive experience. Like if someone comes up and they go home like actually feeling like shit, like you did a bad job. Like that's not them, that's you, I think.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Like I always kind of take that Jocko Willink approach, which is basically just extreme ownership. Like, you know, from there it's like everything that happens under my coaching is my fault.
Yeah.
No matter what happens. And then, like, really, if something does happen from there, so like I said, it might be under control, but then at the end, I'll go, look, man, like, yeah, I'll go take ownership of that and look at what happened and how can I make it better. Like, you know, I've done classes at times afterwards where I just sat there and go, man, that was subpar. What the fuck happened? I don't know.
I've had that.
Yeah, I just go, man, I don't know what happened there. I thought I was doing good, but I don't know, something like the energy or like, you know, how I kind of organise stuff and it just didn't gel. And you're going to make mistakes as coach. You're going to make heaps of mistakes from there. But, like, you know, you just got to... But what kind of makes you a good coach is learning from mistakes, adjusting it, and then trying to implement a better one next time.
Yeah, and I think on the tune kind of like owning your coaching as well, that's an important thing is, like, you can't be teaching a class as well and look at someone's technique and it not be up to scratch and just be like, oh, that's them.
Oh, that's just Joey.
Yeah. Because I know people do that. And, like, obviously, like, some people take to things just generally worse. But, like, really, like, you have to, like, the way that you're going to teach well is if you look at the way everyone kind of replicates the technique you show and you take that as, this is a representation of my demonstration and I have to unpack it more to help them. Because if you're, like, it's just a slippery slope. Like, if you look at someone and go, oh, he just sucks. Like, you're not, this comes back to taking ownership. Like, that's you not.
Be honest, though, Hugh. Be honest, it does happen sometimes.
What happens sometimes? Like, some people just suck.
When you just look at someone and you go, how do you not get this after all this time?
I get that.
How many times have I showed you this move?
That's one of the main things I find myself checking myself on is, like, even if at times it might be appropriate, I'll never let myself just be like, this guy just doesn't
Yeah, I don't
get
think
it.
I've ever kind of given up on someone.
Yeah.
Like I've tried something, like well, I haven't given up on people that always come back again. Like you always get the person that comes in. You kind of see where they kind of just clock out. They go like they're already going to say, this isn't for me. You can just see it in their energy and that, and you go, look, that's cool. It's not for everyone.
Yeah.
Like I'll still give you some of my time, but I could see you just go.
You're clocking out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like if you come back, cool. We can really. But for now, it's like just work on this, and we'll see how we go.
The people that come back, I see it as a personal challenge to make them better.
Yep.
I won't let it go.
But it helps me if you
I have
don't
failed
do
if I don't make them better.
Like if someone comes up week after week, that's enough for me. Like because but also like it's two things. It's coming up, which is probably 80% of it. But also if sometimes you see someone that their technique is a little bit all over the place because they're not naturally coordinated and they're struggling to conceptualize it and turn what. Some people don't have that. Some people are just amazing at. They can just watch someone do something and just paint a mirror image of it with their own movements. Some people aren't like that, and you can see it. Like, some people just need. But when you can, like, some people don't really get it, but you can see in just their general face and their mannerisms, they're just trying so fucking hard. Like, and anytime someone's like that, for sure they'll get my time because they're just trying. Like, I'd rather teach someone whose technique is looking jank, but they're really just trying hard to get it. Like, I find that energizing. Like, it's just like some people just get it, and that's. But even like, I don't want to like teaching people who obviously get the technique but aren't really trying to get a lot better. They're just trying to tick a box. Like, that's boring to me.
Oh yeah, definitely. Yeah, but like I said, there's nothing more rewarding really than seeing like someone just kind of blossom. Like you just see it sometimes. You see the ugly duckling. He's just cruising along and you go, oh yeah, mate, you'll get there one day. And then one day he does. He's a beautiful swan. It's like, but it's funny. It's like I've literally seen so many people I've trained over time where I just go, it's like keep putting that hard work in, mate. We'll keep going. And then one day, it just comes. I go, holy shit, this guy's actually really good.
And I think one of the best parts about a situation like that is because you definitely get some people that require some patience. And like when you really start to see, I think you get a lot of people that their growth is like, but then they just have that moment where it starts to come together all at once, and like you can kind of see them working like that, and you can feel like a lot of people would have given up on this guy, but he's putting it together because we just took it slow and used some patience.
Does that go back to hard work beats natural talent?
Yeah, I think that ties in.
Yeah, it does. It's like, what's the saying? Like, it was something like along the lines like, good talent don't work, but hard work makes good talent. Or something of the sort there. I can't remember the exact word. It didn't come out right. That sounds like dog shit, and I know it. Okay? But I was like, I'll come back to that. I'll put it in the show notes. But yeah, it's something along those lines.
Actually, one of the things like that reminds me when it comes to coaching people is I actually think sometimes people who suck a little at first become the most technically proficient because there's a point where like the majority of the people that you see come up and end up fighting quite quickly are like the athletes, like they're natural athletes, like they played every sport, they could do, whatever, like they played this sport and, they're handy on a skateboard and they could surf and stuff like that. They're the people that you generally see fighting quicker, but sometimes when you get sometimes you get people that are like that, like they just take into everything they've tried, but they also are like have an eye for technique, and that's just a dead image. But sometimes you get people that take to things naturally, so that like base set of things you teach them, it comes together really well. But they don't move that far beyond that is something that you see across combat sports a lot, because people get so used to just taking things straight away that idea of like there's at the finer level, like that, the top of the technical pyramid, like the really fine points, it always takes a lot of just high level mindful repetition to get to. Like no one grasps the top end stuff is what I'll call it. It's too hard to like explain what I mean. I think people get what I mean. there's a level of technique that you only get from just grafting through it. And sometimes people who are really used to just that instantly taking to things, they just don't like to work like that. Like you see that sometimes. Like even in like the elite level is more. It's not something I've seen a lot firsthand, but like you hear of it a lot, even at the highest level. It's just like people just come and really naturally gravitate towards a set of techniques at the start, and that's that. They just kind of survive on athleticism. Whereas the flip side is someone who has no athleticism and really has to finally, because the other thing with being like a real natural athlete is like you can kind of like not have perfect technique, but just kind of like, you know, I'm ready. Because you just have that strength and athleticism, and like it's too hard for an opponent to like exploit it, especially at like kind of the lower level. But someone who has to really doesn't have that natural coordination, natural athleticism, or a lot of real natural fitness to just make things work, has to think about proper mechanics so much and just really get high repetition, so they're not relying on anything extra, they're just relying on proficient technique. Someone like that, I think, like can get to that really high finest level because they're used to having to approach things with pulled apart to their pieces. I guess is how I'd describe that. Is it's like someone who's a natural athlete can sometimes just take something as it is, just pick it up, whereas someone who is not has to unpack it and really finely understand the technique, and so can expand upon that technique better. They're not adopting finished product right away. So I think sometimes the people who, it's the same thing, like it comes back to why you have to give people patience, is because you never know. And I think some people, like, you give them that little bit of patience when they're not really taking to it right away, and they'll surprise you if you let it. If they, I think, if they show you that they really want to, especially sometimes you get someone coming up and they go, I want to fight, and you go, okay. And then you're just like, but if they really show that they want to and they stick with it, like, so they sometimes do come out to be some of the best, technically, because they recognise it. Because like I've had conversations with people where I'm like, man, like you can fight, sure. It's going to be a lot of work. Like it's going to take everything out because you're not getting this naturally, which is fine. Like I'm not saying that to insult them. I'm saying it because I need, like, I think like that could be taken by some to mean don't do it. It doesn't mean don't do it. I'm just being real with you about what it's going to take. Because like I was like that. Like we talked about this in the last one. Like I was just jank when I started. But, like still pretty jank, but like
it's like you get it, and you have to do it to some of those people as well. Because like, so I want to fight, but like some people kind of maybe think it's a little bit more not as real as they kind of get. It's like it's all pads, and I go, dude's broken a leg before here as well on the show on a development day. It's like it's just real. I've seen people knocked out. I've seen broken noses. It's like just like you got to approach this in a manner like basically you are training for a pro fight, which you should. So you have to put some extra work in. So like 3 days a week probably won't cut it. So it's like you're training. That's cool. It's all for fun. That's absolutely awesome. But when it comes to actually you want to fight and compete,
it's got to be different.
Prepared to make some sacrifices and prepared to be in this gym 5 to 6 days a week. And that's also me as a coach's duty of care that if you aren't reaching these requirements, I won't let you fight.
Yeah.
Because like I just know you just won't be, like you won't be able to put your best performance out there either.
But I also think like as much saying like you need to be in the gym every day for fighting because like there aren't enough hours in a lifetime to work on your technique. Like it always just needs to be worked on. I think we talked about this last episode as well. It's like people when they start fighting, they change their training to just be like, it's not mindful anymore. It's just like conditioning. And people want to show up and just do 3 hard days a week and not do anything else. It's like you need to do a lot of hours of technique. Do your hard stuff, and outside of that, you need to do a lot of just like working your technical proficiency. Because like as much as anything, if you won't be here every day, or as much as you can, like sometimes with people, it's like I've got this work situation, and we want to make it work. So we're figuring it out. Like you're going to be here doing pads with me this day and that day, and the days you're not here, you're going to be running hills and stuff. We figure that out for people who everyone's situation's different. But for the most part, if I'm saying, okay, you're here every day, you're wanting to go to footy with my mates, it's like, okay, you don't care enough, and for real, you could die. Like, that's what I want people to, like, it sounds like people are like, dude, so dramatic, but, like, you could die. Like, you could get kicked upside the head and die. Like, and you need to be, like, okay, like, I don't have to say that to people, but you could get seriously hurt. Like, you could get knocked out. Like, this, like, the idea of something like, fighting with striking, like Muay Thai or boxing or kickboxing or MMA, we are trying to cause concussive damage to each other. And that shit is really, really bad for you. That doesn't mean you shouldn't do the sport, but it means you should be giving everything to, like, we don't have to create this. Like, I think people love the idea of, like, it's for everyone idea with combat sports. And, like, martial arts is for everyone. But combat sports is for the people who, and when you make the distinction of combat sports, like martial arts, you train, and combat sports, you compete in full contact, is for the select few that are willing to give all of the time to it. Because, like, I can't let someone get, like, I find getting in the ring, like, really, like, a really scary idea. Like, even when I'm just in the corner with someone, I'm like, fucking, like, there's a lot of nerves involved in that. Because, like, I just have always been really gripped by how dangerous it is. And it doesn't stop me from doing it. But it makes me really think, like, you need to be doing it right. Like, putting in the hours for it. Like, that's where, like we're saying, is, like, as much as anything, if you're not going to come get in the gym every day, A, you're not getting enough work in your technique, but B, you don't care enough. Like, you need to show me that you care about the risk that you're taking.
Yeah, that's right. And it's like, maybe some other people's views are skewed a bit, like, especially when it comes to, like, striking sports mainly, because you get those things like, you know, the executive black tie fight nights,
Yeah.
and Wimp the Warrior, things like that, where it's like, you know, I don't know, 10, 12 week camp, maybe longer. I haven't looked into too much with, like, you know,
I think it's like 12 weeks.
Yeah. So yeah, basically taking some people with no fight experience to having a fight within 12 weeks. That's the main thing. But I know for a fact there's a lot of, like, people that have had fights before that just get in there.
Yeah.
A lot of Irish boys. Irish boys don't give a shit.
The Irish are dull.
It's like, oh, yeah, I'm a fucking go. That's like, you know, had like about 5 fights in Ireland or something. They don't need to know that. But yeah, but I think some people skew with that one. Like, you know, 12 weeks to, like, let's say, like, Simon. I've trained a guy for a couple of these, but he's had, like, a long training experience. So I was going, okay, it's cool. I'm comfortable with him doing it. But he used to, like, talking about, like, you know, this guy, like, some guys that are, like, in their 40s, like, white collar workers, never even really worked out before.
Yeah.
Getting in, like, training, like, you know, 4 or 5 days a week from that one to fight in 12 weeks. And, like, you know, it just, it's like, for me, it just irked me so much. I go, man. I did see one of them where it was this older dude, like, you know, and he got matched up, like, with this fucking, I don't know, this guy that looked like he worked out a fair bit more. And he's like, you know, he put up a good set. Like, you know, everyone was cheering him on because, like, you know, he got in there with a few good punches, but in the end, he got fucked up. He got pretty fucked up in the end for that one. So, yeah. So, like, some people get their mind skewed on fighting a bit because that might be their experience. Because, yeah, I see my mate do those, you know, black tie nights. And it's like, oh, if you can do it, I can do it. And it's like, yeah, well, it's not ideal.
Yeah, it's like, there's certain types of losses you can take where you just don't need that in your life. Like, if you're, like, I just don't think the reality of it is, like, I don't want to paint a negative picture of combat sports in general either. Like, if you're taking it seriously, it's nothing to be terrified to the point of not trying. It's just you do need to understand the, like, extreme ends of the risk, just enough to make you trained enough to mitigate them. Like, you can't just, like, again, off on a bit of a tangent, but you can't just be flippant about, like, yeah, I'll just jump in, like, train a little bit, and then just hop in and see how I go, because it's not worth the risk. Nothing might go wrong. You might just get smacked around a bit and go, fuck, that sucked. But you also might just get seriously hurt, and you can get hurt to the point where it's just not worth it for you. Like, it's not something you need to go through just for the sake of, like, a bucket list item.
Yeah, and this, like, this kind of ties into the coaching thing, really. Like, an experienced coach, like, you know, and a coach that, like, really cares about his student also won't put you in that kind of situation, really. Or they kind of just, or they just know, like, you know, really, like, they'll literally just sit there and just go, this is not a good idea.
Yeah.
Like, you know, it's like, you know, I'm not one to mince words when I just kind of know when things are just shit ideas. Like I just I go, that's a really bad idea, and I don't approve of it. And really just I've pulled people from fights before. I just go, well, I haven't seen you, so don't worry, that fight's not on anymore.
Yeah.
It's like because everyone I teach, I care about. And it's like to kind of put, and if I'm going to put in there kind of subpar a little bit from there, which has happened before, because I can also be fucking arm twisted at points, because that's what happens when you do really like your students. They can manipulate you a little bit also. Where I go, oh, okay, let's go, yeah, fine, okay, all right. If you really think you can do it, then let's do it. And then there has been fights afterwards where I just basically I've said I don't want to come on here and say I told you so, but that goes in again on me. Afterwards, I might have chewed him out and told him, but also on me, I do make a mental note. It's go, fuck, you let him get in there, when he's not ready. It's just like it's your fault.
Well, it's like I was, I got a message from someone that someone I care about, saying here's a fight, be real with me. Do you think I can win this? And then I wanted to send back. Honestly, this was a thinking point. So I wanted to send back. You can do anything if I'm bullshit. But and then, but I had to think about it. I left it for a while, and I came back and said, I don't think you can, and I don't think you think you can. And then it wasn't a matter of the end premise of what I said was I don't think it's out of reach. It's up to you which fights you win. It's seriously 100% up to you. But I don't think you have a chance unless you drastically change the way you approach the sport. And the end result was I agree. So it's sometimes people really, they're not asking the question. They want to be told. Not want to be told. I don't get my words wrong either. But if they're asking you because they care what you have to say, you owe it to them to tell them the truth. I was seriously ready to just lose a friend in that. But I just went it honestly would have been ugly. And so I just went really in good conscience. I can't say you'll do well in this fight. It was a step up that didn't happen. And I said, but the response was I completely agree. So it's if that person could have taken that fight, when that was really the underlying feeling, was that they agreed with me, it would have gone horribly. And that was exactly what my thought was in saying that. And it ties back well to the question, actually, because we have gone in different directions about coaching, but this is what it comes back to. Can you, coach if you don't have experience? Is having experience that allows you to make these judgment calls. It's you have to have tough calls or something, but I think sometimes when you're talking to someone, it's I have to look at this where it's I care enough about you, where I would rather you don't talk to me anymore. Then you go into that fight and get irreparable damage done to yourself. Well, not even it doesn't have to be irreparable damage. It is a little bit, but just have a really you get badly hurt basically. I'd rather you come at you. I say this, the fight doesn't go ahead, and you don't want to talk to me anymore, whatever, because you can go on with your life. I'd rather see it like that than, It's also to come back to the question as well, when it comes to these types of conversations, I think, do you need experience to coach someone? You definitely don't, especially in the technical. But touching on it as well before, I think one of the where experience really comes through coaching, in my experience, is it's not the teaching people how to punch and kick. Where you fall back on your experience is where you are waiting with someone in the back, waiting to walk out. And it's these are make or break exchanges you can have with people. And it's I think sometimes I get nervous, not nervous in, I get quite nervous when I'm waiting to go out with fighters, but less so again, and less it's not a projecting kind of nerves, but I take it seriously. Because I wouldn't be in the corner and take I'm never in someone's corner not really giving a fuck what happened. I'm invested in that, but I'm not invested in I don't care if they win or lose. I'm invested in it comes to a point where it all gets I want them to be okay, like there's no threat. Like I don't want him to get in the same way like the non-fighting family members will watch you fight. But it's also like you really have this little time where it's on you. And with some fighters don't want to be told anything right before they walk out, and that's cool. Just leave them. But some fighters really like they're hanging on your every word. And whenever I've been in that situation, I've learned a lot about what you should say and what you shouldn't say and what's too much and stuff like that. But it's also, I think I wouldn't know because that if I hadn't been where they were. Like sometimes it's just these really simple things, but you have to be able to look like you look at these, especially when I get really taken back when I'm with someone before their first kind of proper fight, the first time they fight without pads and stuff. Yeah. You know, in a venue with a crowd and stuff like that. And you see this look in their eyes, you go, like, I was there. Like, you can feel it when you see them. Like, because I think you start to feel, you always get nervous for fights. But it's a different kind of nervous. It's not just this, like, fear of the unknown anymore. But you see this, like, just that stone face. Where then it's like, a lot of the time what you say is whether they show up or not. Because sometimes you send people out into those early fights and they're not really, like, they can't be present. Like, the moment is too overwhelming. So you have to be able to say these little things, and for me, it just comes from knowing where they're at, like having been there. But the same thing is, like what I was talking about, I'm sure if I had to, I could do it without experience. Like you'd figure it out what to say.
Yeah.
But I think there are like intangible elements to training someone that rely on experience, and it comes back to as well that philosophy that you should fight at least once if you're going to coach people, because like this person is doing something that's really scary, and you have to understand that. Not have to, like some people didn't for whatever reason, but it is really helpful to understand that from a first-hand perspective, because it's really like, how are you going to sit there and tell some guy when he's about to fight, like, yeah, it's okay, it's no big deal, like, when he can go, fuck you. Like, you should never do it.
You believe people when they say, I'm not nervous before a fight?
I know, like...
I never believe them.
Depends on the person. Like, you know, like, I know some people that they're always fine.
Yeah.
Like, you know, Tomo.
Yeah.
It's like, just goes, yeah, that was cool. Like, Thompson, like, Luke Thompson was always cool and shit. Never saw him, like, he was more, like, G'd up.
Yeah.
Yeah. But, and then there'd be other people I've seen where, like back in the day, dry heaving in the back and didn't make it to the ring. I've seen that before.
Yeah.
And that was fucking bizarre. But, like, you know, everyone's nervous, man. I think I saw David Pinnipay do one of his Insta stories just saying this, like, you know, saying, like, it's like, I'm never scared or something like that. And he's going, yeah, righto, it's fighting. Everyone's fucking scared.
But I think it's really like, if you're saying, like, I don't get scared at all, like, I struggle to believe, like, a lot of times someone's like, I'm not scared, I'm never nervous at all. You can look at their opponents and be like, you have no reason to be nervous. But also, like, sometimes when people say, I don't get nervous anymore before fights, it's kind of a matter of wording sometimes. I understand what they mean, but I think you always get nervous. It's just, it becomes different. Like, it's differently, like, because I think some of my best fights were the ones where I actually really wasn't feeling nervous, because a lot of the time the feelings of nerves, you're always nervous. You always have that, like, buzzy kind of excited nerves, but I think sometimes the nerves come from just external pressures, and that's when you feel those really defeating nerves. They're the fights that I've had the shittest performances, because I wasn't there. I was, like, elsewhere dealing, like, it was the external, whereas, like, really when I just allow myself to be always nervous, like, anytime, like, if I just had to walk and stand in the middle of the ring with everyone there, just cheering and shit, I'd feel nervous. I wouldn't want to do it. Like, I wouldn't want to give, like, a 2-minute speech. But, like, where I've had my best fights are the ones where it is just, like, I'm just present with it. Like, I feel the nerves, but kind of just don't really, like, it's there, but it's something that I'm not dwelling on. It's just, like, I'm just observing it.
Yeah. So, this is, like, at the end, hopefully that answered the question. Like,
I think you got more than you're bargaining for.
Yeah. Well, that's how we just do things anyway. Because I like to, instead of, like, you know, here's the question, here's an answer. See ya. I like to look at it in many different ways, like how other people look at, like, because, like, you know, that doesn't relate to me. And it's like, well, maybe I can say that it relates to this person, relates to that person. Blah, 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 blah. This is the experienced coach talking.
Yeah. It's using the question to see where else we can go though. Like a lot of what we talked about there was broadly about coaching that had nothing to do with the question. But it's just like it was still kind of like spur. Like, it was within like one umbrella of topic. It just like we took the question and way away with it.
Well, it's one of those questions where like you could just answer it in 1 minute.
Yeah.
It's like if you want to be very direct about it, but what's the fun in that?
Yeah. Again, then ask someone fucking stupid your question. Don't kind of ask me the question.
What was the what's the 1 minute answer?
1 minute answer. Oh, it's like do I agree with like younger people teaching that? No, I don't. End of story. I think they don't have enough experience and they don't know what they're doing.
In short, for that exact question as well, they probably are bum.
Yeah.
Like probably.
And they're probably if they're doing it outside the gym, they're undercutting the gym, and I think that's immoral. It's like they're basically just saying "fuck you" to their trainer.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yep.
So fuck those guys.
Yeah. So that's if you want the short blunt answer, there you go. But where's the fun in that? That's no fun.
Yeah.
I could do that as an Instagram post.
Yeah.
but of course, like knowing superfan Jake Davis from there, he doesn't expect us to. He wants us to expand on the topic in many different facets.
Yeah, respect Jake Davis, helps us out a lot.
Yeah, right? Definitely. Also, like I think he did a podcast just recently. He got interviewed on it.
I heard that.
Combat Nutrition Oz,
Yeah.
I think. Yeah. Okay, so check that out. I haven't checked it out yet. I've been very busy, but he did give props to the Fire and Shy, so thank you for that. And also, like, I will get around to listening to as well.
No, he spread some
stuff.
good messages. He's really advocating for mental health awareness.
Yeah, I think he's getting shirts made up as well. So if you hit up Jake for getting some shirts, also, like, that will, basically goes in mental health awareness. And he also very advocate of saying if you do feel down and things like that, to actually reach out to him.
Yeah.
And like he's very, and same thing with us as well. If you just want to reach out to us also and talk about shit like that, like, man, I'm always down for a convo and shit talk. You can just send us memes if you want.
Send me some memes, I'm keen.
Hugh's actually like he'll critique it for you. He say if
don't send me bad memes. Like, use the formats right and stuff. But if you're playing the game, send me some memes. But this is art. Chess, not checkers, please.
Trent's like
I love to abuse the meme format.
Trent's getting
what was
mentored in
that? You cut out. What did you say?
You're getting mentored in the art of memeing.
Yes. I was explaining the other day how I'm reverse engineering memes, so I understand the background and what they're all about.
Myself, I just go leave that to the professionals. I just share good memes. I don't.
Language of my people.
That's it. I never make them, and I never claim to make them. I just share funny memes. All props to you smart people that can actually make a really good meme. All right, that should do it tonight from there. So remember, if you do want to ask questions or ask the cover topics, and that send it for a few, like Jake Davis, Daniel Nguyen as well. Thank you for sending the question the other week, and anyone else that wants to, you're more than welcome.
Especially with the shit all that's going on, like we can cover a question for a whole hour.
Yeah, that's it. It's like we are good at shit talk.
Yeah, and little else.
Yeah, that's it. But like every good shit, you'll find some good kernels of truth in there, and you know, some gems. All right, so remember, this is also on YouTube as well. So go to our YouTube page, enter the Double Dragon Podcast, and also subscribe, follow, all the good shit you should know. You can also listen to us on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Play, all podcast platforms. And you can also follow us on Instagram and Facebook at Enter the Double Dragon. All right, until next time, catch you later.
See ya.
Yes.